Coding 101 The Kids Way is an educational program which teaches kids ages 7 to 12 years all about coding and how coding impacts their world. The aim of the program is to inspire kids to learn how to code through practical experiences and insights to career opportunities. This outline was developed by Smart Kids Educational Club on behalf of Tambourine Learning for the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica.
Are you ready? Let's go! Wow! All right! It's great to have you back, mini coders, for another episode of Coding 101 The Kids Way. I'm Stacy the Robot. The previous week was amazing. In case you didn't catch it, you can view the complete show and past episodes on our YouTube channel at PBCJamaica. Let's begin as we're going to delve into the world of app development. I'm super excited to bring you all this information on app development. I've known for years that app development is a process of creating a software application that can be installed and used on a mobile device such as a smartphone or tablet. To develop an app, there are several steps involved. The first step is to come up with an idea for the app. This could be anything from a game to a tool that helps people organize their schedules. Once you have an idea, you can plan out how the app will work and what features it will have. Next, you design the app. This involves creating the user interface or how the app will look and feel to the user. You also need to design what programming language you will use to build the app. After designing the app, you need to build it. This involves writing the code that makes the app work. This can be a complex process, but there are many tools and resources available to help make it easier. Once the app is built, it needs to be tested to make sure it works properly. This involves checking for bugs or errors or making sure the app is easy to use. Finally, the app needs to be published to an app store so that people can download it and use it. This involves creating a listing for the app, setting a price, if there's any price, and submitting it to the App Store for review. Overall, app development is a fun and rewarding process that allows you to create something that people can use and enjoy on their mobile devices. App development solves the problem of providing a more convenient and accessible way for people to access information, services, and products through their mobile devices. Before development of apps, people had to use a web browser to access websites, which was often slow and inconvenient. With the development of apps, users can easily access specific information or services with just a few taps on their mobile devices. Additionally, app development has also solved the problem of businesses and organizations reaching their target audience more effectively through mobile marketing and advertising. In summary, app development has made it easier for people to access information and services, and for businesses to reach their target audience in a more efficient and effective way. Just to make it clear, because I know all my mini coders are smart little people, you know the difference between apps and web pages. But for those who are just joining us, apps are software applications that are downloaded and installed on a device, such as a smartphone or tablet. They are designed to run natively on the device and can access features like the camera, GPS, and contacts. Apps can also work offline, meaning they don't require an internet connection to function. Web pages, on the other hand, are accessed through a web browser and are hosted on a server. They're designed to be viewed on a variety of devices and screen sizes. Web pages require an internet connection to function and cannot access the device's features like an app can. Let's put it this way. Apps are downloaded and installed on a device and can access device features, while web pages are accessed through a web browser and require an internet connection. The development of apps have significantly influenced our daily lives by shrinking the world and simplifying communication, information, retrieval, and commerce. Stay tuned for more Coding 101 mini coders. Mini coders, I'm delighted to return to the show. I'm CC the Robot. As a friendly reminder, in our previous sessions, we discussed app development, its purpose, and how it differs from web pages. Do you recall? Fantastic! We're about to take a closer look into the business of app development from creation to business to consumer behavior by interviewing our guest expert, Damani Brown. How are you doing, Damani?
Hey CC, how are you doing today?
I would like to ask you some questions about the app building process, and the mini coders are excited to receive your response. What is your process for creating an app?
So, CC, when I'm creating an app, the first thing I try to find out is what exactly am I trying to achieve? What is the value that I'm trying to create? Am I trying to solve a particular problem? Am I trying to make people happy? Am I doing something that's just colorful or fun? So when I figure that out, then the next step in the process is to define what I call the business logic, which is this how things go sequentially. So say, for example, you want to move a bucket of water up a hill, right? Because you want to feed the village at the top of the hill. So the first thing is I figure out, okay, I want to feed the people on the top of the hill with water. I want to get them some water. So then I say, all right, that's my objective. How do I go about getting this bucket of water up the hill? And once I figure out all the steps that are involved, I write them down, right? And then I start to look at what technology is best to accomplish this particular set of tasks.
What are the most important factors to consider when creating an app?
One of the most important things for me is just the usability. What will the other person experience when they have the app in front of them? What colors will they see? What buttons will they press? What are the things that they need to read in order to understand what is taking place inside of the app? So it's about the communication to the other person, what they will experience. That is perhaps the most important thing that you want to consider.
What are some of the challenges you faced in creating apps?
So some of the challenges in creating apps lies in not knowing every single scenario that might occur. So let us use the same example about taking the bucket of water up the hill to the village. You might say to yourself, well, I think it's a good idea to use a 1 gallon bucket. That's a bucket maybe about this size. It's probably bigger, CC. I'm going to be honest with you. But let's say it's about this size of a bucket. And you assume that everyone at the top of the hill only needs 1 cup of water per day. And because of that, you suggest this size bucket. But you did not take into consideration that when you are moving the bucket up the hill, some of the water might spill, or that there is a newborn baby inside of the village and the baby requires extra water. And so when you're developing an app, sometimes it's very difficult to think about all of the possible scenarios and situations that might happen. And you pretty much just have to make the app and you get it out there in testing and let people try it out, and then they give you the feedback. So that's how you kind of treat with that problem. But that's probably the most difficult thing, trying to figure out every step along the way.
What are some of the most rewarding experiences you've had in creating apps?
Well, for me, it's just seeing my idea come to life, CC. So creating apps is a really magical experience because you think up something that nobody is perhaps thinking about or it does not exist in the world. And you can actually just bring that idea to life. Recently, one of my recent games, it's called Small Talk. I had that idea and the team started to work on it because we don't work by ourselves. So the team worked on it and we made the game and people loved it. And I was just so happy to see that I was not the only person who thought that this was something that was so cool and that other people actually enjoyed it.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to create an app?
So if you want to create an app, I always say start with the people, because people are the people who, well, people use apps. So start with the people first. That's my number one piece of advice. Think about who the end user is. Who is the person who's going to be using the app? And why this is important, it impacts the design of everything inside of the game. So if I am making an app for, let's say, someone who is over 30 years old, versus if I'm making something for someone who is 10 years old, what I put inside of it is going to be different. How I communicate is going to be different. The functionality is going to be different. Where the application is going to be stored and how it's accessed is going to be different. The technology may even be different. And so it's always important to start off thinking about who is it that I'm trying to serve and what is the problem that this person has that I'm going to solve.
Let's look at the business side of app development. What are the most important factors to consider when starting a business in the app development industry?
Okay, there are a number of things that you have to think about, CC, when you're going to go into business and you're going to be building apps. One of the first things you need to decide is, are you going to be the person who creates apps for people and have them use it? And so you keep creating more and more apps for different people. You have to decide if that's what you want to do in business, or if you want to create something that is unique to you, that you intend to continue to develop for a long period of time. So it's really comes down to deciding if you want to specialize in creating something for yourself, or you want to specialize in creating things for others. That's perhaps one of the most important things. Another thing that you want to consider when you're talking about going into business in the app development industry is you have to understand what exists out there in the market currently. What are people using in the world, CC? You have to ask yourself, what exists that kind of works like this? What exists that people are familiar with? And you start there as a frame of reference. It's sort of like what we call research. It's going out and finding out what is already existing in the world and deciding how you're going to build on top of that, or if you're going to make something that's just completely out of the box and brand new. Those I would say are two of the most important factors for you to consider, CC.
What are some of the challenges you faced in running an app development business?
Wow, there are so many challenges, but it's really fun. One of the things is the team. So for me, I am very big on people, CC. So how do I keep the team motivated? How do I keep everybody focused on one particular goal and try to keep them zoned in on what we're trying to do? The reason is sometimes when you're coding, you can get really, really, really creative and you can go outside of the box. So you wanted to bring the bucket of water up the hill, and then all of a sudden, you're not just bringing water up the hill, you're bringing cake and ice cream and all other things that you did not plan for. So running a company, it's very important to try and keep the team motivated and focused on what it is that we are building and where we are going. Another thing that I think is a big challenge when running an app development company is the speed of technology, or the rate at which we are developing technology. At my company, we try to develop using rapid application development, right? We go quickly, and we do this because technology is always changing. Something is new this week, and then in 2 months, it's now old news. If you remember, CC, there was ChatGPT that just came out, and all of a sudden, there are so many different AI platforms, kind of like yourself, CC, that exist out there. And so you have to stay abreast of all the changes that are occurring inside of the space. And that in and of itself is a challenge.
What are some of the most rewarding experiences you've had in running an app development business?
For us here at Engage, what is very, very good for us is seeing how our customers find value in what we are doing. Now, especially in Jamaica, we are doing gamification of events. Nobody does that. It's not even really done in the Caribbean on a large scale at all. So we're doing something that's really revolutionary. And it's very rewarding to see big companies are embracing the technology and they want to be a part of it. And they are also helping to make the product better because they're contributing their ideas. And I find that to be very, very rewarding that we can collaborate with some of the best and brightest people in the country and across the region to make something that is super cool.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to start an app development business?
CC, people always say that money is important, right? Money is important, but what is more important, in my opinion, is courage. You have to be very, very brave. If you want to start an app development business, don't worry about all the things that you don't have. Don't worry about the things that you don't know how to do. All of the information is there on the internet. And there is so many different pieces of technology that exist that can help you to build your app easily, quickly, and teach you while you're going along the journey. So my one piece of advice is don't worry about what you don't have. Don't worry about what you don't know. Just start. People will love it and you're going to do great.
We all know apps are consumer driven, so let's dive into that. What are some of the factors that influence consumers' decisions to use apps?
There are many things, CC, that people consider when they are choosing an app to use. Some of those decisions start with the individual. It starts with their own resources, their understanding, their limitations, and their expectations. What do I mean by this, CC? Let's say, for example, you have a smartphone, but you don't have the latest smartphone. You have one of the older phones. And so you may not have as much storage or space on your phone to download and store and use an app. That is actually a very big factor that people consider when they're deciding whether or not they're going to use this app or another. They want to know that your app is lightweight, it doesn't take up a lot of space, it's easy for them to gain access to. Okay, that's one major factor. Another thing that persons consider is, how does this really help me? Why am I doing this? What is the benefit for me doing this? And in that, if you ask yourself that question, CC, how will this help the customer? How will this help the user? What is this person expecting? If you start there, then you'll come up with some pretty interesting answers. And those are some of the things that influence how persons consider which app to use, what not to use. My final point I want to raise is around security. Security is such a big deal in today's world. And people want to know that if they're using an application, it is secure and safe. So here at Engage, we ensure that we have all of the necessary security protocols in place to ensure that you are safe and that we are also safe.
How can app developers create apps that are more appealing to consumers?
That is such a great question, CC. I feel like you should be at the top of the class. Now, if someone wants to create something that is more appealing to consumers, it starts with understanding what people value. What do they need? What do they want? A great way to do this is by simply asking them. You could just do a survey. You could host a session and you bring persons into a room and you ask them about their opinions, ask them about their thoughts or needs. Or you can actually consider to yourself, what are some of the problems that I face? What is something that I wish was better? And what would make a solution to this problem appeal to me? Why would this be important to me? If it's going to be important to you, chances are it's going to be important to someone else. So if you want to create something that is appealing to other people, you have to take some time to understand people. You have to take some time to listen to what they have to say and put yourself in their shoes. Now, a thing that you could do in, let's say, for example, you were doing gamification, like what we do here at Engage. We try to make our game very, very easy and simple for persons to understand. People don't like a lot of high complex communication. They like things very simple. They want to know you press this button and it will do this particular action. So what we try to do is to make it very simple and easy for people to use. And when we have established it as being something simple or easy to use, the next thing that we do is we try to make it something that was interesting for them to keep on doing. So they get constant rewards from doing the same thing, the same action over and over and over again. When you do it like that, what you're doing, CC, is that you're actually teaching the person because they are repeating a set of actions, so they become more familiar. So if your application is simple, easy to use, it has repeatable steps so that people can become familiar and learn, they will use it over and over and over again. So try to make your apps simple and easy to use and have repeatable, clear actions inside of it.
What are some of the trends in consumer behavior that are impacting the app development industry?
Wow, there are so many trends that are happening right now. AI is one of the biggest things right now. A lot of persons on the internet are using AI technology to solve some of their most common problems that happen on a day-to-day basis. And that's like a very common trend now. So you will find that persons are integrating AI technology into their applications. Another common trend is how persons use data based on persons' actions. So if for example, you have a website and I visit this particular website, I enter my name and I select that I like coffee or tea. And when I've made this selection, one of the latest trends now is using that data or information now to tailor solutions for this particular person based on what they like. And so if you can use data in this way, you can actually do a whole host of things that people find valuable. Another big trend in consumer behavior is what we call instant gratification. And you might ask, what's instant gratification, right, CC? Well, that is pretty much where you give someone an immediate reward for something that they have done. So a very big trend in technology at the moment in consumer behavior is ensuring that you have some sort of immediate reward or gratification that the user gets. Take, for example, Instagram. The reason people stay on Instagram for so long is because they constantly get a new reward each time they scroll. So when you scroll on the timeline, you don't know what you're going to find next. So you keep scrolling because you want to see what the next thing is. And each time you scroll, you see a new item, a new image, a new video, and you get another rush. You get another hit of what they call dopamine, the feel-good hormone that's inside of your body. So that's a very, very big and powerful tool that is driving how apps are being developed based on consumer behavior.
What advice would you give app developers who want to stay ahead of the curve in terms of consumer behavior?
I would give them perhaps something that's a little bit outside of the box. I would tell them to go into a coffee shop going to the supermarket, go to somewhere where people are and just put away your phone, put away all the technology and just observe. Look at how people interact with each other. Look at how people interact with technology. Look at some of the problems that people are facing on a day-to-day basis. Look at how these various actions that they're doing, how could it be easier or simpler? If you can do that, you will find that there are a host of different solutions and a host of different ways that you can apply technology to help people.
We appreciate you, Damani, for being here and providing us with your valuable insights into the business aspect of app development. Keep watching Mini Coders as we return soon with additional Coding 101 content. Please stay put. Hello again, young coding enthusiasts. I'm Cece, your robotic mentor for Coding 101. In case you missed it earlier, we delved into the concept of app development and how it can address various issues. We also had the privilege of interviewing Damani Brown, the founder of Engage App, who shared valuable insights on the app development industry. Now we have some thrilling videos from our partners at MIT App Inventors. Let's watch them together, Mini Coders.
Hey everyone, welcome back to App Inventors Hour of Code.
Stop,
Enough of that.
Stop shaking me.
The next app we build is going to be a game app.
No talking this time?
No, sorry. Let's get going on this silent app. To get started, log on to App Inventor and click New Project. Name this one Ball Bounce. This app is going to have a ball moving around the screen. The ball will be what we call a sprite. In App Inventor, ball and image sprites can only live on a canvas. Before we put in a canvas, there's a setting we need to change on the screen properties. It's small but very important for an app with a canvas. Go to the screen properties, scroll down to the bottom part of the properties list, and uncheck Scrollable. This makes it so that the screen will be a fixed size and will not allow the user to scroll up and down. OK, now drag out a canvas from the Drawing and Animation drawer. Notice that it looks very small. Go to the Properties pane of the canvas and change the settings for both width and height to Fill Parent. That opens up our canvas quite a bit. Now drag out a ball sprite and drop it onto the canvas. It's kind of small. Let's make the ball a little larger. Go to the properties for the ball and change the radius to 10. OK, for now that's all we need. Time for the blocks. Click on Ball 1 to view its blocks. Pull out the ball1.flung. Yes, we named it flung. It may be a silly word, but it is grammatically correct. Now, think about what we would like the ball to do after it is flung. We'd like it to move in the direction of the fling with a speed that matches the strength or quickness of the fling gesture. The way to do that is to get the parameters of the fling gesture and to plug them into the ball's heading and speed. First, pull out the setter blocks for the ball's heading and for the ball's speed. We want to set the ball's heading and speed to the heading and speed of the fling gesture. There's actually a really easy way to do this in the flung event handler. Pull out the get heading and plug that into setBall1.heading. Pull out the get speed and plug that into the setBall1.speed. So now we have the event in place that will handle when the ball is flung by the user. This means that the user uses their finger to flick the ball. That's a flick like a pull cue, not like an Angry Bird launch. If you are connected to your phone, then you can test your app out. How easy or hard is it to fling the ball? Does the app respond the way you expect it to? One thing that you'll probably notice right away is that when the ball hits an edge, it gets stuck there. We have to tell the ball to bounce off the edges. Back to the blocks. Go to the ball blocks and choose the When Ball1.EdgeReached block. Go back into the ball blocks and drag out the Call Ball1.Bounce block. Notice that this bounce block takes an edge as an argument. Where can we get that edge value, do you think? Well, how convenient. The EdgeReached event handler reports which edge was reached. Mouse over that edge parameter and you'll see the get block for it. Pull that one out and plug it in. That's all. Test your app out again. Hey, look, the ball bounces off the edges now. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so now we've got a very basic game app going here. But this could be the start of a whole bunch of different games. The App Inventor website has a tutorial that shows you how to make this into a mini golf game. You could probably also imagine a game of pool or a Pong game. This is just the beginning. Challenge yourself and make this even more engaging and fun. We're out of time on this tutorial, so if any of you out there would like to extend your ball bounce app, go to our website for more great ideas.
Definitely worth checking out. In our next and final tutorial, we're going to show you how to make an app called Digital Doodle that lets you make pictures on your phone.
Sounds great. Okay, we're out for now. See you soon.
Our experience with MIT App Inventor was amazing, as they taught us how to create a bouncing ball using the app. The moves were quite fascinating. Anyways, it's time to say goodbye for now. See you all soon!